Warning: Title 17 U.S. Code 512F provides penalties for the deliberate misrepresentation of copyright infringement. The owners and authors of this video, the common denominator, and the Paramystic Broadcast Channel are a nonprofit 501c3 exempt organization and believes in good faith that it constitutes educational fair use, as per Title 17 U.S.C. 107. Persons, agencies, attorneys, and/or social media algorithms filing a false or frivolous Digital Millennium Copyright Act complaint may be subject to civil liability. Warning: the following content may contain elements that are not suitable for some audiences. Accordingly, viewer discretion is advised. Happy Friday, everybody. How are you, Chad?
I'm doing pretty good. It's a nice day today, so I'm doing pretty good.
Yeah, there ain't nothing wrong with that. I tell you what, it's been upwards last 2 days. Not today, but the last 2 days before, it was low to mid 50s here in the plains, and I couldn't help it. I had to get the grill out. I had to grill. I got the itch.
Grill. Oh, grill.
Grill. I got the itch. I had to
Okay.
get the grill out.
I thought you were saying you had to get the drill out. I was like, what are you drilling? That's
Oh no. Hi, Sally. How are you doing?
How you doing, Sally?
So, man, there's quite a bit that's been coming down. Something that's really hush hush actually is the new Gmail rules as far as if you have a business name attached to your Google Mail account. From now on, sometime here in February, used to be like, okay, mine is theparamystic@gmail.com. Now, if you just have theparamystic@gmail.com instead of like Don Coleone at theparamystic.com, it's going to be put into people's spam folders. It's not going to be delivered into the inbox. However, they did not think of the fact that if somebody goes to their junk folder and they see it, they can click not junk or not spam, and it'll automatically revert back to the way it was. So
do not block this domain.
Yep. So essentially, it's good for some things, but it's just gonna be a pain in the butt for everybody else because they're gonna have to go looking for the email again and figure it out that way. But other than that, nothing too strenuous. So tonight, what we're going to do, I'm gonna tackle a little bit of the tech news that's going on, and then I'm gonna open it up for Q&As. And if we don't have any questions as far as for me and Chad to answer as far as tech questions, then what we will do is, I guess, we'll share some of the tech shortcuts that
we both know and put our head together for a little bit.
Right?
So, um, I'm not totally sure, but the plan is, guys, an hour after my show, essentially was the plan for the logbook to go live from Eagle Pass. So we'll have to see if that's still coming down to pass. I honestly hope it is, and then you can catch all of your common denominator network hosts will all be on there with Dakota and Kimberly. And let me tell you guys, this is an awesome show. They show a lot of stuff that you're not seeing on mainstream media, so you definitely do not want to miss that.
That's the truth.
So it's no surprise that in the cybersecurity world, Telegram, the app Telegram, is in the in the headline news again. The Telegram marketplaces, because you're able to sell and buy stuff on Telegram, is actually phishing and attacking easy to use accounts with malware. And since it's an overseas company, they have managed to swindle people out of anywhere from $230 to $2,400. And they're currently being investigated once again by the Cybersecurity Threat Division.
The
Take that
Telegram,
as
I don't
far
think
as
it's
you
just
want.
the company Telegram. Telegram is filled with scammers. I
Yeah.
got on Telegram once whenever, what was that? Dogecoin was
Yep.
popular. And anytime you went to a thing on Facebook and even typed in Dogecoin, half of the comments on there would be from some foreign name and would be join my Telegram page. Join the if you want to make big bucks, join this Telegram page.
Yep.
And I went on there one time and it was like, you know what? This is all scammers. I mean, it's almost as bad as, you go on to some group that has a bunch of men on it and be like, have some woman's picture that you stole off of a model or something like that and be
Yep.
like, message you. And then it'd be like, check me out on my OnlyFans page or something. So yeah, Telegram, a lot of people would swear by Telegram for news, but I think that's the most untrustworthy
Yeah.
platform there is. I mean, it's almost like a legal back page,
Yeah, and I'm gonna tell you something. If you go on to Telegram talking to people and clicking into links and stuff like that, without the proper protection for your computer, yeah, your computer's gonna get stuff that penicillin won't cure.
Yeah.
Essentially is what it is.
Especially if you accept cookies or anything like that. So
Yep. This is where you want to tell the Girl Scout no to the cookie.
yes.
So, Apple today just dropped its new VR. And its new VR is this headset, I kid you not. I looked into it. While it looks cool and stuff like that, I'm not much for VR anyway. But it's called Apple's Vision Pro. And it's their first product for this in the last 7 years. And I'm telling you, the only person that will probably be able to buy one of these is someone that has a trust fund or somebody that makes a hell of a lot more than I do, because the going rate without tax, just the retail price, is $3,500 just for the headset. And it's nuts. No, it'll be like the PlayStation or the Xbox or something like that. It's going to stay that high for a while, but I bet it bottoms out probably about $1,200-1,300 is where it's going to sit.
Or they'll just put it on a monthly payment plan like they do phones. Because I never thought we'd be spending $2,000 on a phone either. How much does the latest iPhone cost? What is the latest iPhone?
The 11 Pro, isn't it? I don't know. I hate Apple. You already know that.
I do too. So maybe it's the 13. That one's a cheap $1,000, $1,100 for the
That's still a lot.
13.
That's still a lot of money, though. I mean, average middle class person that's raising a family, that's 2 paychecks right there,
Yeah,
depending
yeah,
on what they're making, honestly.
yeah, yeah. I agree, Sally. Still too much,
Way
and
too much.
and like I said, I have a feeling they'll just start trying to throw that on an Xbox plan or so. If they'll even do that, maybe they'll, if it's compatible with Xbox or anything like that. And you know how they like to,
Right?
you know, how like that. Then it'll be like, oh, well, you can subscribe to the iGames or something like that, and then
Yep.
you'll be able to play the VR from your phone, and uh, we'll come up with our own games.
I'd be that guy that's on like some of these reels that's on VR, and I end up running into a damn wall in real life.
Yeah, me too.
I just don't want it.
Yeah, I don't really want that, especially with as bad as my internet is already half the time. I know that thing would be bogging it down.
Oh, and
So,
that close to your eyes, and you being epileptic to begin with, that would not be a good idea.
no, probably not. And I remember
Too
when they
much
used to tell you not
flashing.
to sit too close to the TV.
Yep.
So,
Man, I couldn't do that. Well, and what turned me off on VR to begin with, like I used to have like the old school VR where you could snap your cell phone into it and download the app and you'd be able to look around a dinosaur world or something like that. Something, you know, yeah, childish, but harmless. But when I started seeing there was a knockoff company in China that when you put the headset on that they sent you, there was black powder charges and you were playing a game on a first person shooter game and you were fine as long as you didn't get shot, but if you got shot and it was a headshot, you died in real life. The projectiles would literally shoot right into your temples.
what kind of is that? Like some kind of war
I don't
games
know.
for Chinese military or something like
I,
that? I don't know that.
it gives a whole kamikaze meaning.
Yeah, a Russian
It's
roulette.
nuts.
Well, even worse than that.
I was done. I wasn't going to get it. Our friends Meta are in the news more than once this week. Meta, their stock surged 14%, and their investors are loving it because it's the first ever dividend. So essentially, the company announced its first ever cash dividend of 50 cents per share to be paid out in the middle of March. As their record, as they had a record turn of last year, reported in February, as well as a $50 billion share buyback. The buybacks and dividends help boost stock prices by rewarding investors with cash just for holding the stock.
No.
I wouldn't put money into it. He's in the hot seat so much, I would not put money into his pocket.
Well, I'll say some of these people are so, whatever you want to call it, that they probably liked everything he has to say and don't see anything wrong with it. Just like all the people that abandoned X just for saying they wanted free speech, or for him coming in and free speech. And now I hear that X is getting as bad as far as letting too much content go, that it's easy to find stuff on X that you probably shouldn't be able. I don't use X hardly any, so I don't really know. But
yep, they're getting bad. Like,
so,
and you know, he's in Congress, which that's the next story anyway. Is he was in Congress 2 days ago, sitting in the hot seat, and Congress has been unable to make him and everybody else that's involved in social media to get them to make it safer. And it's because the lobbying influence, you know, and the ordinary congressional gridlock, but people, it's not stopping people from using it. So people have to monitor your children on Facebook. Technically, if you read your Facebook terms and conditions, your kids should not be on there until they are 18.
Right. And I heard somebody saying that they don't allow kids on it until they're 16 in Florida, but the way they made it out, like kids can't use social media. No, that's not the case. Kids can still get on social media. They just can't get their own account on social media. So they have to go through a parental account. And then the parents can see everything they do. But I mean, goodness, watching even YouTube, some of the ads they put up are horrendous. And I don't see, that's another thing. If they want to work on something with that, you can work on them ads, because nobody really likes ads anyway. But it's some of these games that pop up there. I mean, one of them I've said multiple times was my son was playing a game and it put an advertisement up for a game while he was playing it. And it was this woman walking around, and if she hit the positive points, her butt would get bigger, or her boobs would get bigger. And if she hit the negative points, her butt would get smaller, or her boobs would get smaller, or her hair would get worse, or whatever else. And it was something about going to the club, trying to get into the club before, make yourself as hot as could be before going into the club. And it was like, this isn't something that needs to be on a ad on a kid's game. You can regulate the games as much as you want, but y'all need to regulate the ads too. I mean,
exactly. They need to regulate the ads, because I mean, even like Happy Kids, because we got rid of YouTube Kids, we went to Happy Kids. Sometimes I'll catch an ad on there like, okay, are they doing that because they know the parents can hear it and they're speaking in a certain quote unquote lingo that only older people are going to understand? Or how are they doing it? Because there's some that I've caught and I'm like, no, we're going to a lower age bracket, and we went to that. But the other thing, like you were saying, those ads about going in and making yourself look hot beforehand, like you said, you could monitor your games as much as you want. Like, you can set your parental controls on the phone, but a lot of those apps are rated Y for youth. Because they're across seas, they can get by with it. And let me tell you, it's not for youth.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't know how far you wanted to go into that, but Ted Cruz even grilled Zuckerberg on Instagram, where it has memos up there, I guess kind of like it does with CVID or weapons or anything else like that, on there talking about this might contain child abuse and violence, or even sexual child abuse and violence. And it says pretty much get resources or continue. And I was like, why would you even have an option to continue? And then it was advertising those messages to pedophiles.
Yeah.
And it was like, why do you even let pedophiles on your platform, was one of my questions. But, especially, if I get put on a watch list for posting something about anything really, then why aren't these people getting put on watch lists if they're, especially on social media? For that matter, why aren't the police monitoring? If y'all want to sell information to stuff like that, if Facebook's going to do that or give information to the government, why don't they do it for something that can actually catch somebody, like, something like that, like a manifesto of some guy going and saying he wants to eliminate the federal government, like one recently did.
Yes. And Chad and I will both tell you, when he shared that, the first thing out of my mouth when he sent it to me, there was a guy out in Pennsylvania, and you cannot find it on YouTube. It's been taken down. I'm going to tell you, I do not endorse this, because it makes life a living hell for everyone else out there that are trying to do a podcast. The guy had threatened the Federalist marks, things like that, said that due to martial law he was enacting president, and he held up his severed father's head and has been since arrested for murder and that, but he did this on a live YouTube show. Can you imagine what that did to every algorithm on the planet in the computer bank system? It put them on such high alert.
Not to mention, he already had put out videos of his manifesto and how he was offering all this money for deleting federal agents or deleting the president. and was saying that he had his own militia and everything. And yeah, I guess his militia was one of his own, all in his head or something like that. But yeah, he needed mental help and should have actually been tracked down from the post that it sounded like he made, not just posts, but videos of him talking about this kind of really terroristic stuff.
Yeah, and I mean, there's colorful ways that you guys can say it, or you can type it in the comments to where you don't get in trouble. I do it all the time. If you want to talk about something and say that somebody should, because of treasonous things, it's a short stop and a sudden drop. Not that hard to figure out, right? But the algorithms aren't picking up on the creative, colorful talk. And it's nothing that is bad. There have been people that have said such innocent things in the comments, and they end up in Facebook jail for it just because they got red flagged by an algorithm. Not a person, a computer.
Yeah. And people always think it's the algorithm or the admins or something that block you. Most of the time it's Facebook.
Yep.
Or Meta, I guess you could say.
Yeah, exactly. Speaking of which, our lovely people at Meta, how much money did you make between breakfast and lunch today, Chad?
I didn't make nothing between breakfast and lunch, honestly.
I didn't either. I spent more.
Yeah.
Mark Zuckerberg, the head of Facebook and Meta, made $28 billion from the time he opened up his eyes, had breakfast, and sat down to lunch today.
Nothing suspicious.
That's a hell of a paycheck. No, there's not. None at all. And now he wants to put in all these checks and balances, and all of a sudden, and he's in hot water with Congress. I'm going to go ahead and say it. I don't care if Meta fires me from working on their platform or not. I'll find another one. That reeks dirty money.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's way too much money for a 5-hour period. That's just nuts.
Especially when you haven't done nothing special to, I could see if you just came, or I could actually see even Apple going up after they released their VR headset or something like that. But he hasn't done anything special or new or anything. No. So
that's asinine.
Yeah, that's crazy. Unless he got a thing from the government saying now he'll start selling them all their information and stuff, or giving them all their information or something like that. So maybe that's
my third generation of offspring still won't pay it off. Pretty much. It'll just be an excise tax.
Yeah.
Oh,
be on your phone and cable bill now for.
No kidding. So it sounds like the report of regulatory filing posted this morning looks like Jeff Bezos is going to sell his 50 million shares of Amazon this year. You believe it or not?
Depends on why.
I didn't really see as to why. I mean, they jumped 8% in the last quarter, and they had a record holiday shopping time. So I don't know if it has to do with his colorful fashion choices or his relationship with Lauren Sanchez, or if it has to do with him putting more money into Blue Origin.
Well, I did say, I can't remember where it was. Let me look that up real quick. It says he's planning on selling 50 million shares over the next 12 months. So, well, it says potentially cashing in on a stock surge. So,
insider trading, maybe? Maybe he knows something we don't. They're all trying to do it better than Martha Stewart. White collar crime, still white collar crime, no matter how clever you get.
Yep, and all that I can find about with Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk is it looks like he's trying to close in on Elon Musk as the world's richest person. So,
Yep.
but it seemed like there was something about him wanting to work with Musk on some stuff. So maybe he's trying to get out of Amazon altogether and go into Space Origin, or
It could be. It could be. Well, hopefully he's not trying to make homemade submarines or anything. We all know how that
Hopefully
pans
not.
out.
Hopefully not. I heard he was wanting to buy a house in Florida, or he moved his yacht to Florida or something. So I don't
Well, I can give him your coordinates. He could be your neighbor.
live that close to the ocean. So, and if he wants to be my neighbor, then he better buy my house or something like that, because I could only imagine how much our taxes would go up.
Oh my God, that would be astronomical. Okay, so you know the whole DNA ancestry, the 23andMe. They have 3 years ago. It was the golden child of Wall Street and Silicon Valley. Today, it is the most at risk of being delisted from NASDAQ. So 23andMe is so low on cash that its stock is worth mere pennies. And the CEOs, I can do more. I can do more. Just give me more time. Give me a second chance. Like, dude, how much can you piss down the toilet before you're done? Find somebody else. So they're at risk of being delisted, which means anybody that's an investor is going to start pulling out. What's going to happen to all of that DNA that they've collected? They're not going to be able to keep it cryogenically frozen. It's too expensive.
Well, they don't even have to anymore. They got it all on computer now. So
True.
So they don't really have to. I mean, it's like whenever you go for if you're committed of a felony, or if you're accused of a felony in most states now, they're gonna, or not in most states. I don't know. I know Florida's one. I know Missouri's one. That if you're not convicted, if you've been accused of a felony, they take your DNA. I think another problem with 23andMe is the fact that there's so many countries that are doing that now.
Mm-hmm.
Or not countries, companies that are doing that now. Like I just searched ancestry DNA tests, and MyHeritage comes up, Ancestry DNA, 23andMe, home DNA ancestry that you can get from Walgreens for $25. I mean, there's like 5 of them now doing it, and I know some of them are more accurate than others, just from I've seen when it's like we took 5 DNA tests to see which ones were the most accurate. Yep. You know, and some of them might be very, very, very vague on, you know, you're 25% European. You know, exactly. I don't know if 23andMe's like that, or it might be you're 50%.
I've seen ones where they actually go down to like 0.1 and 0.05%, yeah, and they generally go with the region, like that's like the $150 kit, but where they actually go through, they find out where, you know, you originated from, who you share DNA matches from and stuff like that. Okay, that's who you share DNA matches from. That's a potential possibility of where your family has come from. But the only reason it's saying that is because of what your DNA matches in other samples that they've gotten.
Right, exactly. So they're just using it, and the more and more that comes along, the more and more bigger and bigger their database gets. Also, here's another thing, and I was watching this and thinking about it from watching that same Congress hearing about TikTok. And if that company does get bought out by a Chinese company, that means that all that info would go to China. And when they were questioning that, the guy that runs TikTok here in America, it was saying that all that information would be state protected, even though if he does claim, they do claim that it's getting sold to China or given to China, they weren't allowed to answer it anyway because it was a state secret. So when TikTok was asked if they're giving that information to China because the company's Chinese owned, he was like, I can't answer that at this time. And it was like, well, that's a simple yes or no answer, and you can't answer it. So that was kind of scary as far as a lot of
It
that
is.
stuff went. And it was even more scary at some of the hashtags that were allowed on that. And TikTok evidently is not in China. They have a different version in China. And the TikTok in China mostly pushes math, writing, and arithmetic, or
Yes.
reading, writing, and arithmetic, while the one here is targeted towards teenagers doing Tide Pod challenges and stuff like that.
Oh God, yes. Lord. And just
So it was
think
kind
we're
of
gonna run our
amazing at
country
that.
one day.
And also, just all that DNA. I mean, I'm sure China doesn't. I'm sure they actually do sell it to people anyway. You know.
Oh yeah.
And it probably could be a good thing in a way, like saying, you know, you're very likely to develop cancer because half of your family has died from cancer. You know, I mean.
Yeah. I've seen good things and I've seen bad things straight across the board from them. Hi, Crystal.
Hey, Crystal, how are you
from
doing today?
all of them as a whole, you know, but it just, it kind of makes you wonder, like, if they go belly up, what happens to all that data? What
Right.
happens to those servers? Who are they giving it to? Or are they going to try and recoup what they can and sell it on the deep dark web? Which the deep dark web, guys, is different than the dark web. Two different things.
Sorry to hear that, Crystal. Hope you feel better. I can
Yes,
understand
definitely.
what you mean by being stressed. I've been stressed too. I feel you.
So if you guys got any tech questions for Chad or myself, go ahead and answer or ask in the questions. We'll answer them to the best of our abilities. Just to kind of recap, you know, the stronger your password is with upper and lowercase letters, numbers, and a special character is going to protect you far more easier than just one random word, because hackers are now using computers to actually crunch the probability of what your password could be, and you'd be surprised that software is only like $4.99 online to download it. So all somebody has to have is a little bit of your information and be able to hack into your stuff. We all know about my love-hate relationship with AI, so that goes without saying. Be careful of your apps. It's time consuming, it's painstaking, and a pain in the ass, but read the terms and conditions on what you guys are giving them information and access to. It's scary what some of them have written in there because, let's see, what would it be? WhatsApp, Angry Birds, Telegram, TikTok, Twitter, and Facebook. Facebook uses Pinpoint Browser as well, which they do that as well. Okay, yeah, so I have a show, as y'all know, and then my voice goes robot. We named him Bob, and I have to go through and change audio in StreamYard and then change it back and hope he's gone. I thought it was my computer, but I got a new computer and it still does it. Not as often, but it still does. It sounds like, are you using a microphone like
That's
what
what I
I
was gonna
have?
ask.
Or a
Like an
Bluetooth
external
headset that's
microphone
got
or
it?
something. Hardware that you used on both, I guess, like the same camera, the same microphone,
Yep.
same headset.
Otherwise, I will.
No,
No,
it's
she
all
doesn't
different.
have them. I think I know what she's got then. If she's like using a laptop or something like that, she's getting back feed.
Yeah, were you using the same? Yeah, it might be the drivers on your camera. I would check that. I don't know what kind of camera you got, but I know mine's a Logitech, and there's software that I can download, like called Logitune or something, that works with my camera, and I can do all sorts of stuff with it. And I know if it's not working, it definitely messes with me, because I can mess with my Zoom and stuff using that. Yeah, watch
Yeah.
it's
So
not gonna
like
work.
if you had somebody on, Crystal, with you, and
There it goes.
like Chad's on with me, if I didn't have my headset on, it would be coming out of my computer speakers, and then it would feed back into the microphone and go back into the system. So
I don't think
if you're,
hers. I don't think her. I think she's been podcasting for a while, so she knows that part. But yeah, you're right. It could be backfeeding, but
she's right, it could be the microphone in her camera too.
yeah, I don't know if. Yeah, she
And
usually
doesn't have guests.
Yeah, but she's. I know, Crystal. She's got like a show that sells like
the auction
or
site, yeah.
like goods and stuff like that. She does like auctions and stuff a lot of times, but yeah, I would just start unplugging stuff and see if it still does it. I guess like trying to use your
because
regular camera or something like that.
It could be something like you've got dust in your USB drive that's crossing, making a bridge contact. Or like you said, it could be dust in the microphone, or the microphone could be dirty in the camera.
If she's using her external or internal mic, that wouldn't be the problem, because if it did it with both. And
yep.
I hate to say it, but sometimes StreamYard just don't like some stuff. But
and I'm going to tell you, it ain't a StreamYard podcast unless there's one or two glitches in a show.
Yeah.
We've all gotten used to it. That's kind of how it rolls with them. They're getting a lot better with the stuff that they're coming out with, though. I'm damn impressed with them. You're right. It could be 5 of one, half a dozen the other. It could be just a sudden spike drop in the internet if it doesn't happen all the time. It could just be a drop and a comeback, and it's just enough just to draw it out a little bit.
Now, Crystal, we all know how much on StreamYard, how much we usually have to come back in whenever we have one of those days. So.
Yep. And it's all server based, so who knows where that problem would lie. But I concur with Chad. Go ahead and do the unplug things, plug it back in, do a couple tests, make sure your ports are cleared out, things like that.
I've had some of the dumbest, working in IT, I've had some of the dumbest causes for shouldn't have anything to do with it. Like a lot of times mine, just an example, mine will go crazy if you see me drop off a lot of times or freeze up because my power cord wasn't plugged in good enough, because I use an old laptop for this, so my power cord is kind of glitchy on it sometimes, so it'll like unplug, plug, unplug, plug in, and my computer will completely freeze up just from the power cord unplugging.
Yep.
Even though it should work fine either way. So, or like we were saying about the camera, I've had, working in large corporations, I've had it to where one model of computer or one app, that camera or that hardware did not want to work at all. And it might be from a driver update. It might be from not having a driver update. Who the heck knows? Yep.
As far as cleaning a microphone on like an external webcam or even the one on a laptop at the very top, just take like masking tape, rub over top of it where the hole is, not too tight, not too much, and then pull it off, and you'll be surprised how much gunk and crap comes out of it too.
They also make something that I've used before. It doesn't, I won't say it lasts very long, but it's like $10 or something, and it's like a jelly, and you can run it across your key. It'll help clean your keyboard or your microphone ports, or work on your phone if you still have to dial something, or on your phone's microphone for that matter. So it's like a big bowl of jelly is what it pretty much looks like, and it's usually like neon colored or something like that, so you can actually see what you're pulling out, especially if you have a lot of dust or something where you live at, or smoke cigarettes, while you're on the computer. So, and I've had to use that on my microphones before, because they're not, it's not an actual microphone sticking out. It actually works on a lot of stuff that you'd get, remotes, all kinds of stuff you get dust stuck in, but keep it at room temperature, because if you leave it out in the cold, it definitely gets hard. So
I will say, absolutely do not, and I stress do not, use canned air on your electronics.
I do that sometimes.
What do you know what happens if you hold the trigger down too long? The amount of moisture that comes out of there.
That's not actually moisture. I'll fight with you on that one. That's like having Freon. That's pretty much like Freon or refrigerant.
My mom fried her laptop doing that. I'm like, yeah, I've never used it though, so I've always used the gel like you were saying. Speaking of cleaning, I ended up getting an ultrasound cleaning machine on a pallet today.
Here's what I was talking about, Crystal. So
Yep.
this stuff's like $7, and it's, you can use it. It shows pictures on air vents. There you go. There's another one you can use it to clean out. I doubt it would be too much good after that, but and it's lemon scented. They sell other kinds, so you wouldn't have to get this one, but that's what I got. So, but yeah, I just wanted an ultrasonic cleaning machine, huh? So, I
wonder how that would work.
don't know. She gets all kinds of. Oh, Sally even says she uses it in her car.
Oh wow.
So,
yeah, I love that stuff.
The jelly or the ultrasonic cleaning machine? Because that's ultrasonic.
The jelly.
Yeah, I didn't think about using it in your car vents, but I guess you could.
Yeah.
Actually, another thing about, just to say, and my friend's rest in peace, is he actually overdosed off of those air canned air thing, but that's actually pretty much refrigerant coming out, so you can fry a computer very easily with that just by freezing. Their computer components aren't meant to be frozen, so
yeah, that's
because it is like refrigerant
part of it.
So it's like propane kind of is if you spew out propane, so.
Oh, okay. So I get it now. Yep.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking at first, but my friend actually uses an ultrasonic at work for his carburetor parts, so. But his is a lot bigger.
That makes sense. Just, Crystal, don't put your computer in that.
Yeah. Hopefully she wouldn't do that. So I don't think.
I don't think she would.
I don't think she would do that. But
So what unique tips and tricks have you come across that's outside of the box thinking?
Well, I did learn. This is not out of the box thinking, but since we've got streamers on here, the space bar is a back key for StreamYard.
Really?
So, like, see, I'm going to hit the space bar, and it'll put up what she just put up. Put it up there again, and it takes it down. So I didn't have to click on her message or anything like that.
Well, I didn't know that either.
So, like, if you hit present, share screen, and I'm sharing the screen. Oh, now I'm clicked on the wrong thing. No, wrong window. Okay, so now it's not going to work. Okay. But yes, it works as a back button, I guess, for StreamYard. So that's one random new thing. Trying to think of anything else. I learned that if your pool pump just hums whenever you try to plug it in, that you can go in there and turn the shaft some and it'll start because the impeller gets stuck. So that is definitely not technical, but
algae rust. I dealt with that. I hated tearing the pool down and then resetting everything up.
Oh, we don't do that. No, we don't do that. Ours stays up year round. I'm gonna have to drain it this year because I didn't put the cover on it. So now the whole bottom is filled with leaves and everything else. Yeah. It is green as well, but usually you can turn around a green pool. But
oh yeah, they got that one tablet. I used it a couple years ago, and I had a round one that was 25 foot by 52 inches, and it was like green, algae green, because I had pine needles that had working their way up underneath when the wind blew.
Yeah.
And got in there. And I bought these tablets, and they're not cheap. Well, I don't think they're cheap for a tablet, but they're about the size of a quarter, and you just throw them in and keep cycling it, and within 24 hours, crystal clear.
I've heard that before, but I always have a problem keeping mine crystal clear. Yeah, okay. Crystal's going to go brag about her hot tub now. So
I got one of those. It's in the bathroom.
It's a bathtub. Yeah. I could not afford a hot tub as far as paying for the electricity for it. So
yeah, that would be astronomical.
Yeah. The pool ain't that bad, but the hot tub, yeah, I couldn't afford that. So I know we kind of ran out of stuff right now to talk about, but
Yeah,
you know,
but hey, it's all good. We had some good content and stuff like that, and hopefully we helped Crystal out a little bit. So
yeah, sometimes it's little ideas. Wow, okay.
and then, guys, just remember, keep an eye out for the possibility of the logbook going live tonight. We don't have confirmation on that yet from Eagle Pass down at the border. So we'll be definitely keep your eyes peeled for that. Chad, thanks for coming on with me tonight, buddy.
Oh, no problem. No problem at all. And also, if you're in northern Texas or west of Dallas, be careful tonight because it looks like it's already popping up tornado warnings with this storm that's trying to
Yeah,
come through. So,
I did see they were having a lot of that. And then did you see over by the southern part of like Los Angeles and down
yeah,
there, they're supposed to get a foot of rain?
yeah, that's going to be,
Damn.
that'll shut some stuff down.
Oh, yeah. They'll call it global warming, even though it's just a
Oh,
sea
yeah,
squall.
I'm sure. I'm sure.
Don't get me started. It's not a political show. Don't get me
Right.
started on
Yeah. That's why I was talking about
Californians.
tornado warnings.
Oh. All right. Well, thanks for coming on. Thanks, guys, for popping in the comments. And as always, we'll see you on our other shows here. And then on the Paramystic, we have Odd and His Heavenly Stuff. And Sally has Underneath My Angel Wings. So that's it for this week. We'll see if we get enough for next week. And we'll see you there. Tuesdays, we have Truck It with Chad and Mama Sally. Wednesdays, you have Constitutional Truths and Consequences. Fridays, you got me at 5 and the logbook an hour after that. So we will see you guys on the flip side. And Chad, I'll talk to you after a bit.
All right. Well, have a good night, everybody.
Yes, we'll see you guys. Godfather out.